In the next season of Squid Game, following the carnage of red light, green light, the surviving players are forced to make their own decisions, and the audience is left wondering if they truly have a choice. Everyone on the program are challenged if they would like to keep playing the game when they are still in shock at the deaths of their competitors. The guards comfort them that the game masters are not interested in harming or imprisoning anyone. Is free will, though, even possible when you find yourself in a difficult situation? In case anybody forgot the awful events the players are facing, Hell opens with the terrible image of the men in crimson burning enormous gift boxes carrying the remains of those who were slaughtered in episode 1. A hand appears out of one of the boxes, suggesting that some people may have made it through the first game. Returning to the horse is not an option in Squid Game, though, since a guard latches the box shut after forcing the hand back inside. Players sat in stillness and darkness in the main area, some of them sobbing softly. Ji-hun, Lee Jung-jae expresses gratitude to Ali, Anupam Tripathi and Sang-woo, Park Hae-soo for their assistance during the red light, green light game. Abruptly, the guards enter and the lights turn on, revealing how many players were knocked out in the initial round. There is a disturbance as several competitors implore the security personnel to release them. But they are reminded that they signed a contract prohibiting anybody from quitting the game. Sang-woo, however, recalls something else. The third clause allows everyone to go home, even if they are all losing, if most of the participants want to end the game. The main idea of Hell is introduced to the audience at this point. Are we truly capable of making our own decisions and defending our well-being against severe exploitation? The guards declare that the vote will begin, but not before they load a deposit box on the highest point with the sum of cash that the players who have survived thus far are entitled to, 100 million won for each deceased individual, or 25.5 billion won. The victor of the game will be worth 45.6 billion won, or $38.4 million at the conclusion. Together with Ali and Deok-soo, Hyo Sung-tae, Ji-hun votes to depart. Ji-hun has some concerns when Sang-woo decides to stay, even though it was she who suggested the vote. In the event of a tie vote, player 001, Oh Yong-soo will have the last say. Given his deadly brain cancer and how unconcerned he was by people dying close to him in the very first game, the choice to depart seems shocking. The balloting is full of small details that, aside from the decisions taken by the major characters, come back to haunt us during the episode. One of these is the remark made by player 212, Kim Joo-ah-young following her vote, in which she expressed that life is terrible outside of the game. The other occurs when a guard threatens to use a pistol on a man who is attempting to start a fight with a player who has decided to stay, declaring that they would not allow anybody to tamper with this procedure of democracy. It's a scathing critique of capitalism's relationship to freedom and our own complicity in our own enslavement. Following the final vote, the participants are returned to the street, and we get to see a little bit of some of the important characters from Squid Game. Due to the circumstances of their first meeting before to the game, Ji-hun and Sai-byok are not having a good start. Sang-woo gives Ali money to go home and loans him his phone. At that point, the details of how the University of Seoul alumnus Sangmin Dong came to be involved in death games for money become clear to us. When he wakes up, his phone is inundated with messages about a subpoena. Ji-hun makes an unsuccessful attempt to inform the police of what transpired in the meantime. When the police attempt to contact the number hidden beneath Ji-hun's card, a random woman answers. The policemen laugh him off. After that, he makes the decision to return home, but his mother is not there. When he goes to the street market to hunt for her, he sees Sang-woo snooping on his mother's fish store. After some time of conversation, Sang-woo admits that he owes far more money than the game's guards had indicated. The worst part is that he has pledged his mother's home and business as security for his unwise financial decisions. A telephone call alerting Ji-hun about his mother's hospitalization ends the chat. She needs surgery right away to prevent losing her feet since she has severe diabetes. She declines to get the procedure, despite Ji-hun's insistence. Furthermore, she claims that Ji-hun terminated her insurance and spent the money, thus she doesn't even have coverage whatsoever. Meanwhile, back in various areas of Seoul, Sai-byok, Ali, and Deok-soo are dealing with personal issues. Chol, Park Si-won, the younger brother of Sai-byok who was abandoned in an orphanage, queries when the family would eventually reside together. After leaving the orphanage, she heads to a dubious location with an even dubious name, Southern Men, Northern Women, in an attempt to find the man she paid to smuggle her mother over from North Korea. When Sai Biok learns that her mother was detained in China, the guy requests additional funds in order to assist her. Returning to his prior workplace, Ali requests his severance salary from his former boss at the plant. He lost 2 fingers and was unable to receive treatment for work-related injuries since he did not have a paycheck or any other kind of compensation. Even though there is cash spilling out of an envelope on his desk, Ali's supervisor informs him that he just does not have enough money to pay him. Ali assaults his old employer on the manufacturing floor, pushing him against a machine that crushes the man's fingers. He extracts the cash from the envelope, instructs his wife to take their son back to Pakistan, and says he would see them later once he has the money. Of all, Deok-soo's background is the least interesting. A criminal lord tries to convince one of his former thugs to help him organize a theft on the game console after he stole money from his bosses. Sadly, in exchange for a large payment, the thug has already given Deok-soo over to the Filipino organization he owes money to. After killing the goon, Deok-soo jumps over a bridge into the Han River to make his getaway. When Sang-woo's mother is returning at the Sangmundong Street Market, her son calls to let her know he is in the US on business. When a client walks into the business asking for Squid, she hangs up, "Get it." As mom is gushing about her son's incredible qualities, 2 police officers enter the room in search of Sang-woo. They tell her he's on the run right now and faces several financial crime charges. Someone persistently rings Sang-woo's doorbell while he sits in his apartment's bathtub, fully clothed and encircled by empty bottles. A business card with 3 geometric symbols on the top and a date, time, and place on the reverse is slid beneath the door as soon as he reaches it. Ji-hun finds the identical card at the entrance, but not until he runs out of possibilities for funding and meets player 001 by coincidence. They meet in front of a convenience store, where they converse over drinks and raw ramen. Ji-hun is informed by player 001 that he has chosen to resume playing the game rather than wait for death to arrive. The next morning, Ji-hun searches for his ex-wife, hoping she could be ready to assist him. However, her new spouse makes the financial offer to him with the proviso that he never again search for his daughter. When Ji-hun notices Ga-yong, Cho-in outside the entrance, staring somberly at her father, he hits the man and threw the money at him before taking off. One of the officers who briefly spotted him at the police station approaches him when he returns home. The policeman identifies himself as Jun-ho, Wai Ha-jun, and says he is searching for his brother, who went missing and had a card in his possession that looked a lot like the one Ji-hun had at the police station. Before entering, Ji-hun notices the card stuck between the door and the doorframe and declines to assist. In Hell's climactic scene, Ji-hun, Sai Biok, Sang-woo, Ali, Deok-soo, and player 001 are shown sitting on the street at nightfall and getting into cars, one of which Jun-ho is seen closely following, that we now know are transporting them to the gaming station. This is an intriguing scenario that implies that, despite the fact that all of the characters are impoverished and desperate, there may be some degree of similarity between them, at least in the minds of the game controllers. They are just numbers in the arena instead of Ji-hun or Sai Biok, and it doesn't really matter which number wins. Each of them took the decision of giving up their identity in this way entirely on their own. Was there actually an option? I don't think so.